Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Tonight we're going to look at my sermon titled What About Love? The scripture for that is Matthew 22:36 through 40. We're going to be focusing on the two greatest commandments that Jesus lists in this passage. And the function is, do our priorities follow what we say we believe? Following Lowry's example, I've chosen my 5 points, my 5 main structure pieces here. Now, the first is there's so many rules in the Bible, so many things in our church culture that tell us we can do this and can't do that. There's lots of examples. Smoking is bad. You shouldn't do that. If you get divorced, it shows that you're not a good person. Now, these may not always be true anymore, but I know that growing up for me, they were. There's a lot of do's and don'ts within the church. That brings us to our second point. Is the point of the Bible to give us rules and a big list of do's and don'ts? The Old Testament specifically is full of do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. The law and the original covenants are there, stating what we should and shouldn't do. Which leads us into our third point, which would be where I would read Matthew 22:36 through 40, and discuss the overall context of that passage, where the Pharisees are trying to trap Jesus into answering one thing or the other. Which moves us into point 4. Our goal should be to love God and love others. If we're truly doing these things, then our goal no longer has to do with getting into heaven, which is a lot of times what seems to be the goal for for seeker-sensitive type movements, but truly loving all we come into contact with. And fleshing that out, loving all may mean getting them saved. But getting into heaven shouldn't be the be-all, end-all. We should be focusing on the loving part and developing those people and not just leaving them at that point. Finally, the fifth point is Jesus simply stated in Matthew 22:26 through 40, or 36 through 40, that we should love God and our neighbors. He says all the laws and the covenants hang on this. That becomes the main point.